A cameraman named Aaron sees a job ad for filming services at a cabin in the mountains, where he will be paid $1,000 for the day. Aaron doesn't know what he will find, but still decides to accept the job. Upon arriving at the cabin, he doesn't find anyone. He calls out, but no one answers. So he decides to wait until someone arrives. And this is how the story begins.
Hi! Oh, I'm sorry.
Welcome to Random Recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap the movie. At that moment, Joseph arrives, the guy who hired him. Joseph tells him he's a liver cancer survivor. But unfortunately, 2 months ago, he was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor, which means he only has 2 or 3 months to live. Joseph has a wife named Angela, and they are about to have a child. So he thought of hiring Aaron to film a diary of himself for his unborn child. Aaron, though shocked by the situation, accepts, and Joseph is happy.
You ready for this?
Okay. Let's do it.
The first thing he asks him to film is himself in the bathtub.
What?
Joseph asks if he's okay with it, and Aaron agrees, though somewhat uncomfortable. There, Joseph pretends he's bathing his child and lays him on his chest. He hints to Aaron that he's been thinking about not waiting out the 2 months. At that moment, Joseph goes underwater, and Aaron gets scared. But it was just a joke. Joseph asks Aaron to go outside to film and tells him to get a jacket for the cold. Aaron gets scared by a wolf mask, which Joseph says was made by his father for him.
What happened?
Joseph uses the moment to dance for his child. Joseph takes him to a trail where there's a legend about the miraculous waters of the heart. Waters that can heal you only if you are pure of heart. The two search for the waters along the trail, but suddenly Joseph runs desperately, thinking he heard something.
Hey, man!
Aaron is left alone and starts looking for him, but Joseph plays another prank. They walk for hours until Aaron asks Joseph if he knows the way back, but he says nothing.
No, I don't.
At that moment, Joseph runs again, this time to a viewpoint where he finds the miraculous heart-shaped waters. They are literally heart-shaped. The two enter the water and embrace. Joseph also writes on a rock, J+A. They leave the trail for lunch. While eating, Joseph shows Aaron a photo he took of him when he arrived. Aaron asks why.
I was nervous before you came up, and I felt that if I got to know you before you got to know me, then I would be less scared. I don't believe you.
Joseph apologizes for doing it. Aaron thinks it's weird, but lets it go. It gets dark, and Aaron tells Joseph he wants to leave the cabin and go back home. Joseph tries to get him to stay and invites him to drink whiskey. Aaron accepts, and Joseph scares him again.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Stop it. Get some help.
While drinking and talking, Joseph decides to give Aaron more money for his work. Although Aaron doesn't want to accept the money, he just wants to go home. Joseph insists on giving him money. Aaron is desperate to leave, but Joseph stops him, saying he lied.
I lied to you.
He tells him to sit down and turn off the camera to tell him something in private. Joseph confesses that he found animal porn in the search history of his home computer.
What the hell?
He didn't watch it, so he assumed his wife was the one consuming that kind of stuff. He confronted her, but she denied it. The two started drifting apart. One day, he tells Angela to come to the cabin. She agrees, and Joseph lies, saying he was called for a job. He drives to a store to buy the wolf mask he had in his closet. Upon returning, he puts on the wolf mask and sneaks into the cabin where his wife is sleeping. Joseph ties her up, and then you can imagine what happened. Afterward, Joseph leaves the cabin, leaving his wife tied up. The next day, he asks his wife how the night went, acting totally normal. His wife said fine with a nervous smile. They never spoke of it again. Aaron tries to act normal and leave, realizing Joseph is a complete psycho. But when he tries to leave, he can't find the car keys.
Have you seen my keys?
Aaron starts looking for them desperately, but Joseph convinces him to stay at the house until the next day.
Run, bitch! Run!
Aaron acts calm and drugs Joseph to put him to sleep.
That didn't taste weird to you?
When he notices Joseph is deeply asleep, he takes his phone. At that moment, a call comes in. Aaron answers, and it's Angela. Angela asks who he is. Aaron replies that he's the guy her husband hired to film him because of his cancer. Angela confesses that it's her brother, who apparently has mental problems, and suggests he leave the house as soon as possible.
Listen, I'm going to recommend that you go ahead and just leave.
After hanging up, Aaron realizes Joseph is awake. Looking for him, he finds Joseph outside the cabin.
Death.
Aaron confesses that he knows what's really going on. Upon hearing this, Joseph gets furious and runs off. Aaron goes after him and finds Joseph, wearing the wolf mask, blocking the door, saying he won't let him leave. Joseph starts growling like a wolf, which freaks Aaron out, and they start fighting. Aaron manages to escape from Joseph and returns home safely. But days later, Aaron receives an email from Joseph, digging a grave. He realizes that Joseph knows where he lives.
Aw, for the love of crud!
Aaron throws away the DVD and tries to pretend this never happened. But due to the nightmares he's been having about Joseph, he can't. The next day, a package arrives at his house, and inside he finds a knife and another DVD. In the video, Joseph tells him there's something else in the box. Aaron finds a stuffed wolf. Continuing with the video, Joseph encourages him to stab the stuffed animal with the knife, as he'll find something inside. Aaron decides to open it and finds a heart-shaped locket with a photo of the two of them together. Aaron decides to protect his house and call the police. But since he doesn't know much about Joseph, not even if that's his real name, the police can't do much. That night, Aaron hears a noise in his house. When he turns on the lights, we see Joseph spying on him through the door. Aaron goes out of his house looking for Joseph but can't find him. Later that night, Joseph enters the house, films Aaron while he sleeps, and cuts his hair. The next day, on his window, Aaron finds another DVD labeled as the last video. In the last video, Joseph apologizes for what he's done and asks for one last chance to talk and make amends. For some reason, Aaron agrees and meets with Joseph. But he sets up a camera and configures his phone for a quick call to the police as a precaution. He walks to a bench and sits to wait for Joseph. Joseph arrives behind him, puts on his wolf mask, and when watching the recordings, Joseph wonders why Aaron didn't at least turn around to make sure no one was behind him. Joseph believes he didn't because Aaron was a good person who truly believed he wouldn't hurt him. And that's why Aaron became Joseph's favorite victim. Days later, Joseph talks to his next victim, a guy named Bill, while storing Aaron's recording in his closet full of recordings of all his victims. In the next movie, we meet a man named Dave who receives a box with a DVD that says "Watch Me." And well, you can already imagine who it's from. At that moment, there's a knock on the door, and Joseph appears, who in this movie decided to call himself Aaron in honor of his previous victim. In the box, there is also a stuffed wolf like the ones Joseph likes to send. In the video, Dave watches as someone films his house, stalking him. Obviously, it's Joseph, but he pretends not to know what's happening.
We have to call the police. You need to call the police. This is serious. No.
Dave offers Joseph a beer, and while they chat, Joseph confesses to Dave that he has been filming him for some time. There's even a camera in the wolf he sent. Dave starts to get scared, but Joseph continues talking calmly, saying he's going through a midlife crisis and no longer enjoys his work. Scared, Dave tries to leave, but Joseph stops him. Joseph doesn't seem as happy as before since he's dissatisfied with how he does his work. And this is how the story begins. We meet Joseph's new victim, Sarah, a YouTuber who has a show called Encounters, where she visits people with somewhat strange requests, like a guy who wants to be treated like a baby.
Bruh.
Although not even her grandmother watches her show, barely getting 9 views.
Welcome to Encounters, the web series that nobody gives a shit about.
The next day, she receives an email from someone looking for a cameraman to film him. Obviously, it's Joseph, who in this movie is called Aaron, so we'll call him Aaron. Sarah writes, showing interest in the job. Poor Sarah doesn't know what she's getting into. She heads to the address Aaron gave her, hoping to find an interesting story for her show. When she enters the house, she meets Aaron, who introduces himself and is surprised to realize that Sarah is her real name.
Wow, that's your real name.
Yeah.
In this movie, everything changes as Aaron gets bored of doing the same thing with his victims and decides to tell Sarah the truth right away, claiming to be a serial killer.
This is something that I love to do. It's the greatest job in the world. It's what I'm built to do.
He believes that due to his age, he's going crazy. Yes, the guy who claims to have killed 39 people thinks he's now going crazy.
Bruh.
Aaron asks Sarah for help filming a documentary about his life, his true life as a killer. However, he gives her a chance to leave with the money if she doesn't agree with the proposal. If she accepts, Sarah has 24 hours to film the documentary until. Sarah accepts the proposal, although I think she accepts because she believes the guy is lying.
Want to do it?
I don't hear any passion in your voice.
To show her he's serious, Aaron shows her what happened to the real Aaron.
Shit.
After watching the video, Sarah keeps her composure and tells Aaron that she finds it interesting. Aaron feels there's a wall between them and doesn't feel a connection or loyalty to make the documentary. So, he decides to undress in front of her to remove any barriers between them.
Oh! Ew!
Sarah says it's fine and decides to do the same, even though he didn't ask her to. Sarah goes to the bathroom and debates with herself whether to continue with this or not. Despite all the red flags, she thinks he's not a killer and wants to play along. However, for precaution, she hides a knife. He tries to scare her like he scared Aaron. But it doesn't work with her.
Aaron, come on.
Really?
Aaron takes her to a trail with his iconic wolf mask. The two walk to a lake, but Aaron says there's not enough water in the lake to jump in. Aaron planned to jump from the bridge.
What?
Still, Sarah keeps filming what he wants, although he gets angry at the noises in the forest that prevent him from filming.
I'm gonna take a break.
Aaron gets lost in the forest, and when Sarah goes looking for him, she finds him lying on the ground. At night, they return to the house, and seeing how depressed Aaron is, Sarah wants to provoke him to film what she needs. She goes to find him and discovers him in a hot tub listening to loud music. Aaron tells her he doesn't want to do anything anymore and asks her to leave with the money. Sarah refuses to leave. She wants to know more about Aaron. She insists he tells her his story, and Aaron tells her about the first time he committed a crime and when he realized he liked killing. Seeing how depressed Aaron is, Sarah gets into the hot tub with him and starts giving him massages to relax him. While Sarah is showering, Aaron grabs the camera and thanks her for making him feel better. He goes to the bathroom to scare her, but he's the one who ends up scared. After that, they start playing. While Aaron looks for Sarah, she scares him again. After that, Sarah asks if he feels like using the axe against her. He says yes, but because he enjoys her company, he hasn't done it. Aaron continues trying to scare Sarah with the dilemma of whether he'll kill her or not. He also tells her he knows about her YouTube show and her hidden knife.
Didn't know I knew about that, did you? Know a lot of things, Sarah.
Which manages to scare Sarah a bit. But when Aaron asks if she thinks he's a killer, Sarah still doesn't believe he is. Since he lets her film everything, she thinks, why would you let me film everything if tomorrow I could go to the police and hand it all over as evidence?
It's a fair point. However, You won't go to the police tomorrow.
Aaron tells her she won't go to the police tomorrow because he plans for her to kill him. To entice her, he says if she does, it will be her most exciting episode. Aaron grabs his wolf mask and gives Sarah an axe to do it. But Sarah does nothing. So Aaron puts a rope around his neck and jumps from the second floor. But Sarah saves him, so that plan didn't work. Now Aaron manages to scare Sarah.
Did I freak you out by hanging off?
So she wants to leave. Aaron tries to prevent her from leaving, telling her that when he jumped, he was wearing a harness, so it was all a joke. He apologizes to her and confesses his feelings for her. He also lies, saying he's not a killer and that everything he did was to make her show a success. Sarah falls for the lie and stays in the house.
Are you stupid or something?
Later, they play a game where they confess intimate things, and Aaron confesses that he's a virgin.
You're fucking with.
I wish I was.
Sarah doesn't believe him, but apparently, it's true. At this point, I don't know if it's real or not. This guy lies a lot. But Sarah believes him, so she gives him his first kiss. Then Aaron takes her to the forest to film the show's finale and gives her the same necklace he gave Aaron. Then he shows her a hole he dug before she came. He says he didn't know if it was for her or him, but he decides it's for both of them. So he shows her the knife he took from Sarah and uses it on himself. Sarah watches in terror, and Aaron asks her to do it now. But Sarah starts running desperately. Aaron chases her, but due to the blood loss, he gets tired and lets her escape, until Sarah appears behind him to attack him. But then Aaron ran after her and Aaron drags Sarah to the hole, coming out all wounded, delivering his final monologue until Sarah gets up and attacks him with the shovel. Later, Aaron continues stalking Sarah, following her everywhere. By the way, Sarah still wears the necklace Aaron gave her. Aaron whistles near her to get her attention, and that's how the movie ends.